kind of a dark and gray morning. My name is Carrie Ann Sparks, and I'm an educational technologist in CCIT. And today what we're going to do is really look at an overview of all the resources CCIT has to offer, not only to get you started in the semester, but to get you through that mid-semester hump and all the way to May and sunshiny summer. If you have questions at any time, please feel free to either unmute or put your questions in the chat. Okay, so first I just wanted to explain what CCIT does for those people that may be like, I don't really know who you guys are. And really the mission of CCIT is to assist and inspire educational creativity and excellence. So we provide services in instructional design and D2L support, in distance education support, professional development, and media services. And then who are we? CCIT is located within IIT, Information and Instructional Technology, and our vice president is Kelly McVeigh. And then our director is Sarah Carter, and she is really the one that guides us and makes sure we do all of the excellent things that we are able to do. And you see we have instructional designers, we have a learning strategies coordinator, some educational technologists, and some multimedia production managers. So as we get started today, I would like to ask you a question. In the past year or so, what CCIT resources have you used? There's a list of some of our resources. This is not a comprehensive list, but either in the chat or you can unmute and let us know what CCIT resources have you used in the past, let's say, year or so. So we have got the newsletter, IDT courses, the CCIT website, MC courses or micro-credential courses, Lunch and Learns, IDT courses, Coffee Talk and the Instructor Hub, the reference library, NFT training, all of them. The website, the D2L Hub, YouTube videos, wonderful. So it looks like you guys are one-on-one sessions, yes. Oh, some people are brand new. Well, that's awesome. We will introduce you to all of these resources. Wonderful. I have used Carrie a bunch. Carrie will appreciate that shout out. And our website, yeah. So as you can see, hopefully these resources are valuable to a lot of our faculty. And so what we're going to do today is do a high-level overview of some of our resources, and maybe we'll mention a few that you are not familiar with, or maybe just remind you of some that you had forgotten about. And for those who just joined us, I'm going to share one more time our resource document in the chat so that you can have access to some of the links that we're going to show you today. So the first place, when you're thinking about looking for resources, my recommendation would always be the first place to go would be our CCIT homepage. It has many of the resources that you guys mentioned in the chat linked directly there. Now you get to the homepage, and I will just show you because I know sometimes that's a question, is how do we even get there? So if you go to my DTCC, and then right here under Information and Instructional Technology, you're going to choose CCIT's link. And what you'll see is that we have access to our newsletter, our reference library, instructor resources, the D2L Hub, some of the other things that people mentioned, the micro-credential courses. There's links to past professional development. So down here at the bottom left, we've got our coffee talks and our new faculty resources. So the first place that I would always suggest that you go when you're looking for ideas or support or resources is to check out that CCIT homepage. you'll see that not only do we have a tab for faculty and staff, but we also have a tab for students. So if your students are having some questions or some issues about technology or some of the different programs or software that they need to use to be successful at Delaware Tech, you can check out these resources and maybe point your students in this direction too. And we do know from our statistics that a lot of students do come and use the CCIT homepage. So any questions or comments so far? Okay. Oops, sorry, I linked directly to it in the. Okay, so the next resource that a lot of people mentioned in the chat is our CCIT newsletter. And what it is, it's a monthly publication where we highlight some of our training opportunities. We highlight D2L updates or changes. We might highlight some student success or faculty success, and then hopefully a few tips or suggestions for how to enhance your courses or your teaching. So again, we show that you can access the CCIT newsletter by going to our homepage. And then typically it is released every month in D2L, so you can navigate directly there. And not only can you see our current newsletter, which I will have to say that Laura and I worked on and we're very excited about. But if you remember something that you had read or seen previously, you can access all of our past newsletters here. So, again, this is a great place to look when you are trying to think about maybe some other resources or support or just new ideas because you want to kind of get out of a rut. Okay, next we have something that I really am excited about, which is our CCIT reference library. The reference library is made up of, I think so far we have 17 reference guides, everything from ThingLink to YouTube to accessibility to a reference guide for the department chairs. And these are all built in RISE 360. And what that does is it allows us to access them directly through the link. You don't have to use D2L. So if you've never visited our reference library, you'll notice that we have, as we said, a variety of options. Again, the reference library can be accessed directly from the CCIT homepage. And I did include the link on our reference guide paper that or document that I shared in the chat. And if you just are curious and want to click on, I'm going to just give you two examples. One is this beautiful APA resources guide that April created. And this is not for kind of geared towards students, but can also certainly be used by faculty and staff. And so you'll see it's a very aesthetically pleasing, very easy to navigate, and provides students with a great deal of information about APA citations and references. And then a second reference guide that we can check out is, I believe this is our newest guide that Curry created, which is the digital accessibility reference guide. And you'll see you can progress through it as it's designed, or if you are looking for a specific thing, let's say you want to make sure your text is accessible, you can choose that section and get all of this information about fonts and setting, alignments and colors. Any questions about the reference library? How many people had never seen the reference library before? Yep, I know it's a best kept secret. So I really am glad that we can share that today because I do think it is really, really helpful. And if you have ideas for other topics that you think would be good to cover in a reference guide, contact CCIT, let Sarah know, and we will hopefully be able to produce it so that we can, provide the best resources for all of you. Okay, so our next resource type is a hub. And what we have started to do in CCIT is try to bring resources together under particular content so that you can access them all in one place. So the Digital Accessibility Hub is a one-stop shop for ensuring that all of your courses are accessible to your students. And what you'll see is, if you've never seen the hub before, it is built on Google Slides. And if you're ever interested in learning about how to create a hub, CCIT can help you. Maybe April and Hillary could do it in a Make It, Take It session. But what this does is allows you to collate all this information together for either yourself or your students. So here you can click on any of these boxes to get started. So maybe you want to start with the basics and learn about accessibility, because maybe like me, you know that it's important, but you are still learning how to make your courses and your materials accessible to your students. And so after you navigate through this, you can return to the hub and then maybe go here because you're thinking, you know what, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to learn about the quick 5 things that I can do to make my courses more accessible. Any questions about this so far? Yeah. So next is our D2L Instructor Hub. So if you are a newer instructor, or maybe like me, you've forgotten everything that you knew in 2022 and you need to be reminded, the D2L Instructor Hub is a great place to start. It is within D2L, so you do need to be signed into your MyDTCC to access it. And what it does is provide you with, again, a high-level overview of using D2L. So getting to know D2L, looking at those essential course components that are required in distance education courses, how to engage your students, some examples in action, and then what to do next. So if you know someone or you yourself have recently started teaching at Del Tech, this is a great resource to show them. And I wanted to show you that anytime you're in D2L, you can access the Instructor Hub by just going to this Help tab right here. And you'll see that there's a variety of other support. So the CCIT website is linked here, Delaware Tech Help, and D2L Help. So if you are ever working in D2L and you have a question about something that's just not working correctly, and maybe it's late at night and CCIT isn't available, D2L has 24/7 support. And so if you select that option and go down here, you can actually start right away to chat with D2L support and get an answer to your question. And honestly, we do this in CCIT. We had a question about whether there was a certain function in D2L. We went right to the chat to ask them, does this function exist? And they said no. But at least we knew that, we knew our answer to our question. You can also search for support topics here. So maybe if you are looking for help with gradebook, which is, always a tricky thing, you can get articles about how to set up your gradebook, how to publish grades, and managing grade items. So if you've never used the D2L support, it is really helpful, and they do have live chat and also 24/7 phone support as well, if you want to talk to someone. Close my tabs. So next, and this is something that came up in the chat quite often, are our IDT courses. So IDT stands for Instructional Design and Technology. And these courses are led by our instructional designers and learning strategy coordinator here at Delaware Tech. And faculty and staff can take these courses for free. They offer the opportunity to enhance teaching practices by learning more about how to integrate technology into courses. These courses are 2 to 3 credits each, and you can earn an IDT certificate after taking the required 15 credits. If you want to learn more about IDT courses, here we are back at our CCIT homepage, and they give you a description of all the courses available, as well as instructions on how to register. Because you do, for these courses, you need to register through register for them through Banner, just like our students register for their courses. And for those of you who have taken IDT courses, just pop in the chat, what was your experience? Did you have a positive experience? Did you learn something useful? It would be great to hear for those who haven't taken any IDT courses, what the experience has been. It helped tremendously. It was great. They were fabulous. Learned a lot, quite useful. Learned so much, need to take some again. Much work, but worth every minute. Awesome. Well, that is great. Thank you so much for those of you that responded. Good information, but would have loved in person. Could not have survived without them. Aw. New educator, so gave me many tips to incorporate into my teachings. That's wonderful. We really like to hear that feedback. And if there are things that we can do better in the IDT courses, we want to hear that so that we can be, as useful to you as possible. Okay. So next, we are going to look at one of our resources that are specifically tailored to students. And this is the Learning with Technology course. How many of you have heard of the Learning with Technology course? Okay, I got a note. We got a heard of it. Okay. Yes, no. Okay. So it looks like maybe 2/3 yes, 1/3 no. So let's check it out. The Learning with Technology course was designed in-house in CCIT to provide students with information and instruction on those technologies that they need to use at Delaware Tech. And, many years ago, we talked about this generation of students as digital natives. The idea was they're just going to be able to sign on and know how to do everything. And all of you who are teaching know that that is not true. Our students need to be taught technology skills just like they need to learn any other skill. And so CCIT put together a beautiful course, if I do say so myself, called Learning with Technology. And that answers many of the questions students have, like, what classes am I taking? What am I supposed to do before the beginning of class? How do I know what's going on in my classes? How do I access feedback and grades? How do I complete my assignments? And these really take students step by step to all of the questions that they have, and hopefully provide them with access to all of the support and resources that exists for them at Delaware Tech. Students always have access to Learning with Technology as soon as they have access to D2L. And for students, it appears right here on the right-hand side of their Delaware Tech homepage. You can also always access Learning with Technology here under the Help tab. So even if you're not a student, but you'd like to see what there is to offer because maybe you'd like to refer your students to Learning with Technology, you can do that by choosing the Help tab and then exploring the Learning with Technology course. If you explore it and you see that maybe there's things that we could add, we would love to hear that, because we want to make sure that we are providing students with all those resources that we need. We are working on adding videos that we have created to help students learn how to download Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Excel, as well as how to snip or, kind of take pictures of their screen so that they can, put those pictures in their assignments. It's something that the math department asked about. And so we are working on producing those videos, not only for the math department, but for everyone, so students have access to them. I'm just going to check the chat. One question, do they show them learning with technology in SSC 100? And yes, they do. Carrie and I worked on a little bit of revision of the SSC 100 course. So it is included in, learning with technology is included there. And we actually had some students say that they accessed it before SSC 100 and that it was helpful to them. But the great suggestions and great questions. Okay. So our next resource are micro-credential courses. And I saw a few people mention those. And these are courses that are smaller than the IDT courses. So they provide, you know, a smaller amount of content chunked into, you know, kind of easily digestible bites so that you can learn the information and not be overwhelmed. Yes, that's a good idea. So perhaps they should send an email to students to let them know it's there. That's a great idea. So in the micro-credential courses are also listed in on the CCIT homepage. And unlike the IDT courses, micro-credential courses, you are able to self-register. And their directions are here, but you use a tool in D2L called Discover. And that helps you locate the available micro-credential courses and then register for them. So for this process, you don't get credits. Instead, you get a certificate when you complete the course, but you don't have to go through the process of registering through BAN. And then the last resource that we're going to talk about is our YouTube channel. Typically, when CCIT provides support, we, whether, you know, it's professional development or different workshops, we record those so that those people who weren't present can watch them. So we have several playlists that you can access that have our past coffee talks, lunch and learns, and 5-minute sound bites. So I'll just take you there so that you can see what it looks like. So here are 5-minute sound bites that help you bulk manage dates in D2L, clean up junk files, edit auto captions, learn about virtual reality, and create a custom email signature, all kinds of very useful topics. So, you know, if you are looking for something that you know CCIT has done, or maybe you're just interested to see what, you know, what is out there, this is one of the great locations to check out. As well, we have links to all of the coffee talks and lunch and learns. So, for example, Jason and Carrie did an amazing job, you know, creating escape rooms and took people through how to do that. And so if you weren't able to go to coffee talk because you're not functional at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, which is understandable, you can then watch their videos and learn all about all of the amazing topics that they covered. So as we are kind of wrapping up our brisk overview of all of the resources that CCIT has to offer, I would like to, you know, pose the question to you: what resources would like to see going forward? As you are thinking about, you know, the past semester and how things went for you and your students, are you thinking about this coming semester and what you would like to do? I would love to hear, and we will take this down so that we can, you know, keep a record of it, what resources you might like to see going forward, or any other comments or suggestions you have or questions. A central learning objects, okay? A hub for learning objects. Okay, something for oral presentations. I use screencasts, but it would be nice if D2L offered something. And so D2L does have, within discussion boards, you can record a video, but I know Laura is thinking about Flip right now. So, but yes, so oral presentations and kind of the different options that students could use, I think is a great resource, guide that we could create. Is there a resource for developing rubrics? That's a good question. Jason, is there a rubric reference guide? Yes, Jason is giving us a thumbs up that there is a rubric reference guide. Mm-hmm. Yes, and Allison is saying the APA guide is great. I encourage everyone to use it in their course if they assign papers. I agree. I think April did such an amazing job creating that reference guide. And it's helpful for not only students, but for faculty who maybe don't feel as strong in, their knowledge of APA formatting. And anybody have any questions or comments? It's kind of an opportunity for you to give us feedback or ask questions. So we do have a, oh, thank you, Allison. We do have a survey that we would love for you to fill out that just asks about your overall impression of this workshop. So, and it is in the